Most people remember the Camaro as a symbol bold, brash, built to provoke. The 1979 Z28 wears that memory on its hood. It looks like a muscle car because it is one, even when the rules of the era tried to strip muscle down to safety standards and fuel economy numbers. This is not a tidy model year lecture. It is an honest exploration of strange, surprising, and sometimes stubbornly undocumented things collectors, mechanics, and longtime owners keep finding in 1979 Z28s. Some items are quirks of manufacturing. Some are clearly dealer-level improvisations. Some are stories that took on life because enough people reported the same oddity over decades of careful inspection and restoration work. Think of it as field notes, a map of the places where the official story gets thin and the physical evidence gets loud. 20. The pressure year paradox. 1979 sits inside a production pressure cooker. Federal emissions rules tightened, insurance punished anything that looked fast, and corporate caution shaped what engineers could approve. Yet buyers still demanded the Z28 identity stance, stripes, sound, and that promise of attitude. When identity collides with constraint, the system finds small solutions, not dramatic secrets, but practical adjustments that keep cars moving down the line and keep customers satisfied. Under stress, tolerance stacking, part substitutions, and make it work today, decisions become common. That tension explains why survivor cars show subtle variations that do not appear in clean factory summaries. The paradox is the theme, compliant on paper, sometimes quietly optimized in practice. 19. The look outperforms the spec reality. The Z28's visuals carried more promise than the era's numbers could always deliver. Net horsepower ratings looked restrained compared to earlier years, but the silhouette still said performance. That visual message mattered, because it kept the car emotionally competitive, even when regulations forced compromises elsewhere. Dealers leaned into the total experience, the way it sat, the way it sounded, the way it filled a lane. Owners did the same, judging the car by response and road presence, more than a brochure line item. That is why some 1979 cars feel better than a cold spec comparison suggests. The spec reality is one layer. The lived reality assembly variance, tune state, and how intact the systems remain is another. 18. The "this one pulls harder" reports. Enthusiasts repeat the claim often enough to take it seriously. Some 1979 Z28s simply feel stronger. The explanation is rarely one magic part. It is usually a stack of small advantages, slightly favorable tolerances, a carb calibration that lands on the happy side, a distributor curve that still matches intent, an exhaust that is not restricted inside. Sometimes the strong cars are the ones that stayed unmolested. Vacuum routing is intact. Heat management pieces are still there. Timing has not been buried to hide another problem. And occasionally, a non-standard parts combination slipped through during supply fluctuations. The key is evidence, repeated, consistent differences across multiple cars, not one person's memory. 17. The casting date puzzles. Casting dates are tiny numbers, with oversized implications. Ideally, dates across the engine and driveline cluster in a logical window ahead of the car's build date. But production is not a museum. Parts can be stockpiled, swapped across plants, or replaced early under warranty. The puzzle gets interesting when similar date misalignments appear across multiple cars from similar build windows. That suggests a parts availability event, a vendor substitution, or a running solution that never became common knowledge. Authentication becomes forensic. Block, heads, intake, transmission, and related castings. You are looking for a coherent date story, told by multiple stamps, not a single matching numbers slogan. 16. The paint and primer anomalies. Paint tells layered truth. Inspectors who know where to look find undercoats, masking boundaries, and texture differences that do not always match simplified factory narratives. Some anomalies point to quick line fixes, touch-ups done to correct defects without stopping production. Others point to dealer rework for shipping damage before delivery. Occasionally, the evidence suggests a protective step or material variation tied to environment, curing conditions, or plant practice. The point is not to romanticize every odd layer. The point is to read it carefully. Factory aging behaves differently than modern repaint work, especially at edges, seams, and hidden lips. If you want to understand a car's past, stop staring at glossy panels. Look inside the quiet places where paint was never meant to impress. 15. The little parts that matter. Small hardware is often the most honest witness. Fasteners, clips, and routing choices are rarely replicated accurately by people trying to fake originality. They also tend to survive as a coherent language across a car. The same bolt head style repeated, the same clip material used consistently, the same harness path chosen for a reason. When that language is inconsistent, wrong fasteners in one area, odd routing that looks like a later hand, you may be seeing a repair, a dealer intervention, or a partial restoration. When the same inconsistency shows up across multiple survivor cars, you may be seeing a legitimate production variation. Authenticity is often decided by boring details. Collectors chase engines. Experts chase the small evidence that proves the engine belongs. 14. The dealer correction phenomenon. Late 70s dealers were not passive delivery points. They installed accessories, corrected cosmetic issues, and responded to local customer expectations. They solved problems quickly, sometimes with minimal paperwork, because the goal was satisfaction and retention, not future concours debates. Those interventions leave fingerprints, extra reinforcement, alternate mounting methods, upgraded components, and accessory wiring that looks period correct but not factory standardized. Some dealer work was approved and supported. Some was purely local improvisation. Both can be authentic to the car's real delivery story. The collector trap is assuming only two states exist: factory, perfect, or ruined. Many 1979 Z28s were finished in the dealer bay in small, meaningful ways. 13. Running change rabbit holes. Running changes are normal in high-volume manufacturing. A clip changes supplier, a bracket moves for clearance, a harness reroutes to reduce heat exposure. Most of these changes are quiet and invisible, unless you compare cars side by side. In 1979, production pressure made pragmatic running changes more likely. Some were real improvements. Some were simply, make it fit, keep moving. This is why two cars from the same model year can be legitimately different in small but important ways. For restoration, correct can depend on build week. For buying, it means you should expect variation and learn to separate coherent factory variation from random later modification. 12. The spoiler mounting oddities. The rear spoiler looks simple until you study enough survivor cars. Some show reinforced backing plates, alternate fastener strategies, or internal support structures that suggest responses to stress, vibration, or cracking. Those differences might reflect a mid-year improvement, a field correction, or a dealer fix applied before delivery. The spoiler area is also a stress test of honesty. If the mounting looks too new, too clean, or inconsistent with surrounding aging, someone has likely been there. If it looks old, consistent, and thoughtfully reinforced, it may represent a period solution to a real durability problem. Small structural differences can create large, long-term outcomes. Some cars crack early, some never do, and the reason can hide under trim and sealant. 11. Parts bin performance boosts. When schedules tighten and supply lines wobble, substitutions happen. Most are neutral. But sometimes a parts bin swap lands on a slightly better combination: an ignition component with stronger consistency, a casting variant with a subtle advantage, a setup that happens to respond better when everything else is healthy. Enthusiasts sometimes treat these as secret performance packages. More often they are accidents of logistic. The result can still be real: a car that feels livelier than expected, especially in mid-range response. The discipline is documentation. If you find an unusual part, ask whether it fits the car's date story, and whether the same substitution appears on other cars from the same window. 10. Regional emissions and adaptation. Different states enforce different emissions requirements, and cars were configured accordingly. That can mean different evaporative system details, hose routing, calibration choices, and catalyst arrangements. Those differences still show today through part numbers, brackets, and hardware that do not match what another region's car displays. A car built for strict standards may be mechanically distinct in ways owners feel: cold drivability behavior, sensitivity to timing changes, reaction to mixture adjustments, and heat management demands. Two Z28s can look identical and tune differently because they were not truly identical in their original regulatory context. This is not trivia. It affects buying, restoring, and diagnosing. Correcting a region-specific car using generic assumptions can create endless frustration. 9. Cold air and intake routing tricks. Some owners and technicians discovered small intake and shielding adjustments that helped. Variations appear in snorkel positioning, heat stove details, and shielding placement, sometimes factory, sometimes dealer, sometimes early service practice. These changes rarely look dramatic in photos, but they can reduce heat soak and sharpen response where the car otherwise feels lazy. Codes, date relationships, and internal ratio clues. Because these tricks are subtle, they are easy to erase during restoration. A missing shield looks like clutter removal. A rerouted hose looks like tidying. Then the car runs worse, and everyone blames the carburetor. The practical move is simple. Photograph the intake area thoroughly before you touch anything. The most valuable upgrade might be the boring original piece someone removed for aesthetics. 8. Transmission signatures and swap evidence. Transmissions often get replaced. Sometimes it is hard use. Sometimes it is warranty. Sometimes it is a shop installing what it can get. Documentation does not always survive, but the transmission leaves signatures, stamp pads. If you see a mismatch, do not panic and do not assume. Treat it as a history event and check for a coherent story across the rest of the car. A swap can be honest, period correct, and well executed, or it can be a red flag in a broader pattern of misrepresentation. Value follows clarity. The market punishes uncertainty more than it punishes a documented mechanical change. 7. Brakes, pads, and hidden upgrades. Some 1979 Z28s feel better on the brakes than expected. Evidence in certain cars suggests tougher hardware, more fade-resistant pad material, or component variations that improve consistency under repeated stops. The origins vary: factory running change, dealer upgrade, warranty response, or an early owner who valued function. Brake systems are also a practical authenticity check because they reveal intent. Period upgrades often look utilitarian, with coherent aging and sensible installation. Later looks-fast changes often look new, mismatched, and inconsistent with the rest of the car's story. For a buyer who actually drives, brakes matter as much as power. A car with honest, well-executed period braking improvements can be more desirable than a cosmetically perfect car that is unpleasant on real roads. 6. Stereo, accessories, and dealer extras. Dealers frequently added stereo systems, gauges, alarms, and trim upgrades outside factory option lists. These installations used local parts and local practices, producing interior variants that do not appear in corporate paperwork. When done early and done well, they become part of the car's identity, not a later hack. A surviving dealer installed accessory with period-correct wiring, proper fusing, and consistent aging can be an excellent provenance marker. It can also explain small interior oddities that otherwise look suspicious. The caution is obvious. This category also attracts sloppy later modifications. The difference is craftsmanship and coherence, not whether it appears on a factory option list. 5. VIN pad and trim plate inconsistencies. Small inconsistencies between VIN derivative stamps, trim plate codes, and engine suffix information create real detective work. A mismatch can indicate an early engine replacement, a dealer or warranty event, or a parts flow situation where the car received components outside the neat textbook expectation. Authentication is about building a case. Compare stamps, casting dates, build timing, and small hardware evidence. Look for agreement across many points. If paperwork claims one configuration and the metal argues another, the metal usually wins. The best approach is calm and systematic. Document, compare, and do not let a seller's confidence become your evidence. 4. Overspray, masks, and factory touch-ups. Factory touch-ups happened. They left overspray patterns and masking boundaries that aged differently than later repaint work. A trained eye can often tell whether a boundary line is a production artifact, a dealer lot correction, or a modern restoration step. This matters because factory imperfections can support authenticity. A car that looks too perfect everywhere may be beautifully restored, but it may also have had its original evidence erased. Conversely, a car with consistent aged touch-up artifacts may be telling you it has never been a part in the places that matter. The goal is not to worship flaws. The goal is to understand what you are seeing. 3. The forged paperwork threat. Rising values invite fraud. Window stickers, invoices, and build sheets can be forged, reprinted, or assembled from partial truths. The antidote is strict. Verify every paper claim against physical evidence. If documentation claims an original configuration, but stamps, casting dates, and original fastener patterns contradict it, treat the paper as suspect. Paper should support the metal, not override it. Fraud thrives in urgency. Authenticity survives patience, photos, and cross-checks. 2. Community as living archive. Clubs, registries, and forums function as a living archive. People compare photos, track casting date ranges, and record option anomalies across hundreds of cars. Over time, random oddities become patterns, and patterns become usable knowledge. This community research often reveals more than corporate summaries because it is built from survivor evidence. It is also self-correcting as more cars surface and more claims get tested against new data. If you find a strange bracket, routing, or date relationship, odds are someone else has seen it. Document clearly, then ask the right community with the right evidence. 1. The car that refuses to simplify. The biggest truth is simple. The 1979 Z28 refuses to be reduced to one tidy story. It is a product of regulation, compromise, improvisation, and countless human choices made under time and supply constraints. That complexity is not a problem. It is the point. It rewards careful inspection, honest documentation, and a mature view of originality as layered reality rather than a yes or no checkbox. Some cars are original in the strict sense. Others are authentic in a different way, carrying legitimate dealer work and early life corrections that defined how they were actually delivered. If you love cars as history, this model year keeps paying you back. Practical checklist for buyers. If you're actively hunting a 1979 Z28 for purchase, follow this systematic approach first. Thoroughly photograph the VIN derivative pad, engine suffix pad, and all visible casting dates. Carefully record complete trim plate codes and interior trim tag information. Make detailed notes about fastener head types and harness routing clip styles. Look beneath paint panel edges for overspray evidence, masking boundaries, and consistent aging. Photograph intake routing, heat shields, emissions, hose paths, and any region-specific hardware before disassembly or cleaning. Ask the seller for dealer invoices, service records, and restoration receipts. Then verify those claims against parts-level evidence. If possible, bring a marks specialist who can read the small clues quickly. Budget for independent verification if the car represents serious money. These steps reduce fraud risk, prevent expensive surprises, and help you capture the car's real, specific, defensible story. Why this still matters. The 1979 Camaro Z28 matters because it is a time capsule of an era when performance culture was squeezed hard, but never fully extinguished. The car carries evidence of how engineering, manufacturing, dealers, and customers adapted to keep the promise alive in a constrained world. The anomalies are not just trivia. They are durable proof that real cars are not always built like textbooks, and that as delivered can be a conversation between factory intent and dealer reality. That intersection is why people still peel back layers, compare casting dates, and debate clips and brackets. They are chasing a truthful narrative written into the metal itself. If you love authentic automotive history, the 1979 Z28 keeps offering new discoveries. Most are quiet, practical, and deeply human evidence of people solving problems with the parts and time they had to deliver a car that still looked and felt like a Z28.